And thank you for giving us the opportunity today to be heard. Since January, we have been directing questions to CAMS and ARC about the situation with our fence.
In the fall of 2020, we closed on a corner unit townhouse at 1182 Evangeline Drive.
A big selling feature of the home was that the owner had done extensive interior renovations and extensive landscaping on the exterior of the property. Shortly after we closed on the property, we decided to install a fence and contacted CAMS in regards to that process. We also contracted with a company called Backyard Paradise, who advised us that they had installed many fences throughout Brunswick Forest and would provide us with the application paperwork. We uploaded to the portal an application which stated that we were constructing a fence of 63 linear feet. There was one question directed to Backyard Paradise from Supervisor Haynes. A few days later, on November 3rd, we received a notice that the ARC committee had met and reviewed our application as it was submitted and had approved our application for the fence. In two places on that application, it did state that we were building a fence of 63 linear feet.
In the beginning of 2022, we received notice that we needed to fill out paperwork about the completion of the fence and upload it with pictures, which we did. Apparently, questions were directed to Backyard Paradise via email from Supervisor Haynes. We were not copied on any of those emails, but requested a copy of them from Backyard Paradise. Apparently, Supervisor Haynes was questioning the size of the fence. However, on January 21st, we received a certificate of compliance, which stated that we had satisfied all the conditions of the construction of our fence, and now the matter was considered closed. Supervisor Haynes was still directing questions to Backyard Paradise about the fence, so we sent her an email asking if there was a problem. The response we received indicated that no, there was no problem. We started to receive non-compliance notices about our fence from another CAMS employee. We left several voicemail messages for her which remained unanswered. After several weeks, we then requested an on-site meeting with CAMS and ARC to discuss the fence. 6 representatives from CAMS came to our property. Supervisor Haynes was not one of them. We did not find that this meeting was very constructive, and it did not help us at all in coming to a resolution as to what was the issue regarding the fence. We did not scoff and build a fence. We uploaded Backyard Paradise documents. A review of an application as submitted went through Supervisor Haynes and a full ARC committee review. At all times in several places, it stated we were building a fence of 63 linear feet. We received on January 21st a compliance certificate on that fence.
Here is how CAMS contributed to the issues.
CAMS ARC was looking at the plats one way, and Backyard Paradise was looking at it another way. But there were questions that were asked about a setback. CAMS asked about a 3-foot setback, and the response from Backyard Paradise was that it was a 12-foot setback. That right there should have shown that on the initial review of our application, there was an issue.
Why are the setbacks an issue? Because a 12-foot setback means that the fence itself would have been 3 feet wide. The wording changed too. Now it was about from the property line instead of from the corner of the house. At no time were there any requests for further clarification, a picture, or any sort of a survey. That is where the breakdown of communication has happened, causing the issues where we are today.
The following emails support who knew what and when, and how it affected the compliance certificate. On January 13th, Supervisor Haynes reached out to Backyard Paradise, questioning the 3-foot setback. She was the one who had asked previously in November about that setback and had changed it from 3 feet setback to 12 feet setback.
She is also now questioning on January 13th that one side of the fence was 24 linear feet. In 2 places on the application, we stated that the fence was 63 linear feet. 24 feet only accounts for part of it. What should have been questioned during the ARC review of the first application was the layout of the fence and why did everything equal 63 linear feet. That is key. It is CAM's actions that moved this fence project forward. If there had been any questions during the review process prior to approval, we would have been happy to comply. Our application was approved with 63 linear feet listed on it twice. And then to further issue a certificate of compliance after yet another review of our completion paperwork, the government documents state it clearly.
Of such a certificate shall preclude the Master Association from taking any enforcement action with respect to any condition as to which the Master Association had notice as of the date of such certificate.
Supervisor Haynes knew there was a problem January 13th. Surely there must have been other fences built in Brunswick Forest. Don't they all follow the same procedure? Work off a plat, put the measurements on, have everybody review it, ask questions, then approve the fence so that there's no misunderstandings, everybody's on the same page. So we looked around, and sure enough, at 1168 Evangeline Drive, which you can see from our house, they have a fence. So we went and measured it. Ironically, from our backyard, when you see the fence, it almost looks like it's equal to our fence. And after we measured it, we could see that in fact it was equal to our fence. Their fence was 24 linear feet. Our fence is 24 linear feet as well. Our house square footage is bigger. Our lot size is smaller. We understand all of that. However, there was a reason why CAM's people were also looking at that fence.
Our fence as built was 30 feet wide and 24 feet long. We could have built a wider fence, but it jutted out into the courtyard over utilities and a gas line.
This brings us to option number 2. It isn't a good option. We don't want to risk the plants being removed from the gas line, the redigging around that area, the regrading, all of that sort of thing would be expensive. Not to mention the removal of over a dozen shrubs that have been there for quite a while. Cosmetically, it would look also very awkward. The utilities were always marked out. There have been 6 plats. A 2.5-foot setback then became a 3-foot setback, which then became a 12-foot setback. And now we're back to 1-inch setbacks. Why is nobody questioning linear feet? We are here today because we are told that we had installed something permanent in the limited common area. Let's discuss option number 1. Initially, we were told that we needed to be at a 12-foot from the rear of the house, thus a 3-foot setback. The latest plat is now based on a 1-inch setback. That will give us 2 feet and 11 inches of grass. We have 12 feet of patio. Again, notice here we are now looking at the linear feet. After our application was approved and after the compliance certificate was issued, CAMS ordered a survey of the property. These 3 magnolia trees were planted about 10 years ago by the previous owner. We were told that we were responsible for their upkeep. Whose property is this? We do understand that this is common area, but we think that these are permanent installations as well. We are told we need to move our fence, therefore that's not so permanent. I would guarantee that these trees will be there long after all of us are gone. So how did this all break down? Is there no set system of checks and balances? Customer service, standard procedures? The time to question the details on the fence was before it was built. The setbacks should not be confusing to the fence installer. This was not the first fence that he installed at Brunswick Forest, and it was not the first fence that CAMS dealt with. Why was the procedure not consistent? This was not a big fence project. We hired an experienced installer who had worked with CAMS and ARC before.
If there was a problem, they shouldn't have issued the compliance certificate, but once they did, the governing documents rule. There has been no communication from Supervisor Haynes after January 26th. It was the fence company that told us there was a problem. We didn't even get a phone call from CAMS. Thank you for your attention.